We're recording.
Yes. Oh, can you see that on your end?
Yeah, it pops up with a little REC.
Okay, so da da da. Checking to see where. do. Welcome to the Sideshow, Sun Dragon Sideshow. I'll get this eventually.
The Adventures of Liz and Rebecca.
Maybe I won't. Maybe that's part of the fun. It's gonna be crazy. So
Winging it.
Every day we're winging it. It's all good. So I'm Rebecca. I'm the owner of Sun Dragon Art and Fiber in Brevard, North Carolina.
And I'm Liz. I'm the minion at Sun Dragon Art and Fiber in Brevard, North Carolina.
Mostly reporting from home. You know,
reporting from home,
as everyone on the news is doing right now too, if they're smart. So at least we're not, like wearing the earbuds and the whole because that gets weird. Either it looks weird or the sound gets weird, and it's weird enough already on my super old, love you computer, but super old computer. It has issues.
Yes.
This computer, I go to check videos that I've uploaded to YouTube and I get a black screen. And I'm like paranoid that everyone else is too. But no, it's just this computer. But it's doing a wonderful job with filming our Zoom meetings. Nice computer.
Nice computer.
Okay, so I didn't even set a timer, but we're gonna mark. It's about 9:20 right now. We're gonna keep entertained for hopefully not longer than half an hour. If you want more than that, binge watch us over and over and over and over again.
Yeah.
Okay. So I thought we'd start. We're kind of starting to set up a pattern of check-in of how we're doing with our knitting and crochet. So, excuse me. Proper coughing. Thank you very much. And I'll wash my hands after this. So, Liz, I noticed you are crocheting today.
I am. I started a new project.
But it doesn't count towards your 101.
No, because it's crocheted.
Yeah.
It's another Fall River from my mommy.
Oh, Fall River, yay.
Yeah.
That's our favorites, by the way, for crochet.
It's gonna fade. I'm starting with the middle, and then it'll get darker, and then it'll get darkest.
That's gonna be awesome.
Red's her favorite color, so.
Oh, awesome. That is our Lang Puno yarn. It's our most expensive yarn in the shop at $85 a ball. But tell us the perks about it, Liz. And you
get half a mile of yarn. It is silk, merino, and alpaca. If you throw a little cashmere, or not cashmere, mohair in there, you get like super yummy, warm, and soft. But even without the mohair, it's super yummy, warm, and soft. It's just, it is so yummy.
Yeah.
And the colors do a fadey thing. So
I suddenly remembered I've used one of those cakes to make the Falling Hearts, I think it was called. Yeah. And I found it. That's why I was looking around and half getting up and stuff. I was like, where'd it go? Where'd it go? It's in the chair next to me. So here is the dark. And I'm just gonna scroll this thing up. It made a super long scarf. I used up the whole thing. Look, there's the middle.
and there's the end.
There's the light, and it just keeps going and going and going. That, by the way, was crochet as well. Falling Hearts. I made it twice as wide as it should be. It was great.
Oops, hold on. I have my other, because I've done a green Fall River out of the green cake, and I don't have that with me. But what I do have right behind me
that's got the same red in it, right?
It's the same red, and then I took the teal and I mixed let me find the right side. I mixed the teal in, so it was the dark teal with the light red, and as we went across, we got lighter blue and darker red. It's a mile worth of yarn for two of them.
Yeah, inside and outside. to outside and inside. So cool. Oh, I love it. And there's alpaca and silk and merino. Such yumminess. Oh my gosh. Woo. We have
and
what?
I mixed the mohair in on that. So I mean, it's like I want to say like the pattern that I started with was written for like size 7 and 11 needles. And then when you move the mohair, you go up a size and you do one row on one size needle and the other row on the other size needle. So you get this really cool look, especially in stockinette. I didn't do it in stockinette. Shocked face. I did it all in garter, but it still looks super cool. And it is so warm. Like you can double it up and wrap around.
And for people who are learning lingo and things, some people already know what those terms mean. For anyone who's chiming in on this, who's a newbie to all the vocabulary of knitting and crocheting, garter is where you knit every row. It's what we do in the Papillon. You get squishy yumminess on both sides. And stockinette is where you knit a row, purl a row, so all your V's are on one side and all your turtleneck bumps, purl bumps are on the other. So, yeah, Liz likes to avoid pearls when at all possible.
I don't like purling.
Yeah. So Liz, tell me about this awesome thing that is behind you.
So that I finished on Sunday. It's my Papillon, all done. It's so soft and cuddly.
And it's your moth variation, right? Oh,
it's
and look, there's another Papillon underneath it. It's like it's all boxes. But no, tell us about your latest one, because the other one's your first one.
The other one's my first one. This one I did the black contrasty color, and then I picked 6 colors and 6 colors and a pop. And I have my little pile of what was left. Like, out of 2 balls of black, this was all that was left.
Nice.
And the balls are all right about that same.
Yeah. And your first one, you did a solid and a color changing yarn. Just let it do what it wants.
A solid and a color changing yarn.
I
changed almost every. Yeah. Like the beginning, you only change between 2 in the first section, and then in the middle section you get a few more colors, and then in the third section you get the eyes.
Awesome. The Pokemon balls.
The Pokemon balls. You can't unsee that once you see it. and then you do this really cool little scallopy border, which went so much faster this time.
Well, you were ready for it.
Wasn't at the yarn shop. But it looks so cool. Carol, shout out to Carol. She did make a comment that when it's on the floor, it looks like a dragon with the eyes and the scallopy edge and everything like that.
And if you think you suddenly lost your color and you're seeing mostly grayscale, you did that on purpose. I did that on purpose. Shades of gray. It's really cool. Yeah. And there's some colors that show up a little better in person, but then there's this deep purple pop, and it's you trying to wear your shawl like I wear mine.
Trying to wear my shawl like you wear yours. Only it's
so
not
big,
cold enough out.
You could drape it
I'm
around.
gonna die of heat exhaustion. Ah!
Oh, speaking of heat exhaustion, the heat just turned off, so I think it's fixed. Yay! We've had to try to fix it twice, and it's either been too cold or too hot. I worked a day in the shop last week with gloves on, fingerless gloves that I knit that happened to be shop samples. So,
she did.
Yep. Okay, so she's wearing her Papillon. I'm gonna update you all on my Papillon, which is in the classic fingering weight. And it's hard to see the bottom of it because it's at the point where where the bubble like doesn't sit very well on the needles. But look,
you can see the color change though.
I know, because I picked I picked the second ball of yarn that has much more drastic color changes, and so it went to like a yellow, and it's going back to a darker red now. Let me find a spot on the side. where this is where your Pokemon ball went. But since I'm not doing the Moth variation, I'm not sticking a Pokemon ball in there. It's just got green and blue squares, bubbles that mirror each other. I'm so excited. I'm only a few sections from being done. I want to say I'm on section like 26 or something. And it's even getting the little bubbles at the edge here. Look how pretty that is. I'm really excited to finish it. However, I took a break to start working on something else. It's not a thing.
It's not a thing.
So not a thing. I didn't make any progress on my Soldatna again because I've had a lot of, oh, I got Papillon yarn stuck to me.
That's not a thing either.
I had a lot of people interested in the new yarn I got in the cairns. Here's one ball that's still kind of full. The other one I'm running out of playing yarn chicken with. One of the patterns for the Queensland cairns that people have been doing is the market squared bag. And a lot of people, I put a picture in my newsletter and people are like, ooh, I want to make that. And I've been consulting with people and it turns out the color, the sample pictures are single colors because they're variated anyway. The pattern's written for alternating colors in the basket weave pattern. So I'm like, I should make a sample. I've been wanting to since it came in. So here's my sample so far because I just sat down like yesterday, day before and started busting this sucker out.
It looks cool.
And I'm on my last repeat of the small size. I'm trying to, like here's the bottom in the Yarra River colorway. And then the sides, I'm alternating between Yarra River and Kangaroo Isle. Fun names for these yarns. And here is, I can't really, there we go. Yeah, there is the texture. Isn't that cool?
It looks cool.
It's a light and a dark that I'm going between. However, there's some dark sections in here too. So there's times when you can't really tell. It's not really stark contrast. So I think this pattern would work really well for either two colors you're contrasting or just make the whole thing out of one color. I think they're both going to look awesome. And I'm already at the point where I'm down to only one ball of this Kangaroo Isle in terms of sales. So I'll try to order more, but we have a lot of fun colors. I think we don't have the colors that are in the sample photograph because we couldn't bring every single color in, but it's popular enough that maybe I'll order that next time if I can. Ordering yarn right now is a hot mess. Some companies are still doing it. Some companies have skeleton crews, so they may not be shipping. I think I just got word Cascade is functioning with just the family. Like Cascade's one of the biggest yarn companies in the US. Cascade and Plymouth are two huge ones. And they just sent out a letter that they are working with just the mom, the dad, and the son, packing yarn to keep everyone safe, to keep their employees safe. So it's like, you could get your yarn, but there's only 3 of us working on it right now. So that's fun. But Knitting Fever is who I get the cairns from. I will try to keep ordering that. I have it up on my website. Woo, I have like this much of my yarn inventory is on my website right now. This much. I'm trying to get more up there, but it's a slog. So thank everyone for their patience. And speaking of patience, I have, I'm not going to hold this too close because people's, privacy and stuff. But, and if you see names on there, it's just people who want yarn. But this is how many people have contacted me since Thursday who I'm going to try to help ship yarn to today. So thank you all for your patience. If you're not on that list and try to call, it's hit or miss. So send me an email and I'll do what I can. Oh my gosh. Yeah. Thank everyone for their support. The donations, we've gotten checks, we've gotten gift card purchases. It's fantastic. We're doing what we can. I've applied for some loans, but who knows when and if that's going to happen. So thank you all for helping us keep going during this crazy, crazy time. I think we should move, well, here, let me mention what I'm wearing since we're still looking at knitted stuff. And then we've been getting topic. So I'm wearing the Suncatcher Shawl. This is crochet. Really the only way you can get big, big, huge, lacy, fun things like this is with crochet. You can get some open work with knitting, but it's limited by the sizes of the stitches. Drop stitches are another thing altogether. Suncatcher Shawl, this is a pattern by Elena Fedotova that is really fun. You can make it a lot bigger than I made mine. I was trying to keep mine in the 1 skein-ish range. I picked a yarn by Queensland called Cassowary. That happens to be a smaller skein than usual, so I had to use 2. I had to use like 1 and a little more. Shock face, I know. But but you can make it as big as you want because it starts down in the little, it's one of those triangle shawls. It doesn't start in the center, it starts at the corner. And it gets bigger and bigger and bigger, and then there's a fun little lacy edge. Really fun crochet. It's lace, not lace, fingering weight, but you could make it out of something bigger. Just adjust your hook size to compensate, like you do.
Which is what I'm doing with the with my with the Falling River, because the Falling River, it calls for, hold on, an E hook. I just looked at the pattern, and personally, an E hook is just not gonna cut it.
Yeah, I like small hooks. Liz doesn't.
So, switching to our other topic.
Yes. Topic change. Plot twist.
I love the mythological 7. Like, that's my happy place. And
we should explain what the mythological 7 is. I'm going to side note here. So most hooks have letter sizes. And I say the smaller in the alphabet. The earlier in the alphabet, the smaller it is. So most, like the smallest you may be able to find anywhere is a B. And then Liz is mentioning an E. And then like it keeps going up. E, F, G, H, I, J, K, blah, 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 blah. And G is...
It's a 4.25.
Depends on the company, because for most of what I carry, it's a 4.0.
That's true.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, it's the outlier, the 4.25.
It's a 4 millimeters for a G, which is like in knitting needles, that's a size 6. A US 6 is the label they put on that. And then an H is a 5 millimeter, which is like the knitting needle that's a size 8. And so they made all these hooks and they labeled them all. And then someone said, dude, I need a 4.5 millimeter hook. What you do? You already labeled everything. And so that one, 4.5 is the same size as a size 7 knitting needle. So it's one of the few hooks that has a number instead of a letter because the letters were taken. So yeah, we call it the mythological 7. It's great.
Well, it's also mostly used in Canada and Europe. Like Americans generally don't use the mythological 7,
which I think is silly because I like having the different sizes for your kit. Anyway, so Liz, why did you bring that up?
I brought that up because I am knitting with, I'm crocheting.
You're catching my thing. It's contagious of saying the wrong words. I did that in my video yesterday. Go ahead.
I'm crocheting with this wonderful mythological 7 that my boss got me while she was on vacation. It's handmade. And because we knew each other so well when she went on vacation, she knew what I'd like, because we were going to talk about presents and what to get people for knitting and crocheting.
Yes.
And it's hard to get somebody something that, if you don't know them or don't know what they work with.
Yeah, I mean, that's Jan from the UK suggested, she's been suggesting a lot of topics. It's fantastic. So I think she was the one who said, what's your go-to comfort knitting? So what's your favorite present you've ever gotten as a knitter or crocheter? And that like opens the doorway. I mean, we've already been talking for a while, but there's so much we could talk about with that. So that's, excuse me, that's a present that Liz has gotten that she really likes. And it's because I know what she likes to work with. It's really hard to shop for a knitter or crocheter, especially if you are not a knitter or crocheter yourself. Like we have people who come in at Christmas time and they say, my friend knits, I want to get her some yarn, or I want to, like, what should I get her? And that's such a tough question to answer, because it's like, okay, what colors does she like working with? What size yarn? Thickness. We've been talking about thickness of yarn a lot on the show. What, you know, does she like working with thin yarn or thick yarn? And if the person is not knowledgeable in yarn, that's okay. But they might go, they have no idea. And it's wonderful to get yarn from someone because they're being thoughtful, but it may not be enough to make anything out of it. You know, it might,
or be out of your comfort area.
Mm-hmm.
I've gotten presents from really good friends when I only crocheted that were knitting themed. Like, it's a calendar with knitting stuff, and I look at it and I'm like, it's knitting, and they're like, oh, and I'm, don't you knit? No, like,
isn't that what you're doing? Yeah. So, and you know, they're not trying to be offensive, or they're not trying to be, you know, they're being loving, but they don't realize. Or like getting stitch markers that don't open and close for a crocheter, when they can't really use those. Those are for knitters, but you wouldn't know that if you're not part of the world, which is why we're glad people come and ask us, because we can give them advice. Sometimes yarn is okay if it's like a locally dyed fun thing that they can just be like, hey, this is cool. But if not, they might go, this is great, what am I going to do with this? Thank you. So we often advise people to buy notions, although I just mentioned one of the issues with notions, with stitch markers. Generic things that can just be fun for anybody, like wrist rulers, which I'm, you know, I don't even know, mine's over on the other side of the room. I
didn't even put them on this morning.
But you know, it's a leather ruler that is also a bracelet. Super cool. Knickknacks that anybody can have fun with. Tape measures, needle gauges,
yarn bowls,
things you can put your yarn into. Functional things can be really cool as presents. My favorite present that I've ever gotten, this is a shout out to my sister, I keep telling people this, is when I first started learning to knit, my sister did her research and she gave me a Christmas present of a swift and a winder. Now, a swift is something that can hold the twisted skeins of yarn. Like when something comes like this, it's a little one, but when you open it up, and see, when I got this present, I said, what do I do with this? Because I hadn't knit with much yarn yet. But when you open that twist up, it becomes a really long band of yarn, circle of yarn. And if you just start knitting off of this or crocheting off of this, it can become a hot mess real fast. You have to make your own ball out of this. And a swift will stretch it out and spin in some way. There's an umbrella swift that accordions out, and there's an Amish swift that has pegs and just sits there, but you can adjust it. So you can put your yarn on it, and then a winder, it actually cranks and makes it into a cake. So like, here's the remainder of one of my cakes of cotton that I wound on a winder, swift and a winder combo. And she's
so much easier than bowling it by hand.
Yeah, it takes a lot less time. And I remember that Christmas, she said, well, I did my research, and this one's supposed to be the best because, and I was looking at them like, what? And I still have them at home. That was over 10 years ago. I want to say when I opened a shop, it might have been 10 years ago. Still one of the best presents I ever got because it's functional. It works for knitters and crocheters, and it allows them to, it's not like you picked a ball of yarn that's going to end up in their stash. So, that's one of my go-tos. A lot of the times we tell people who come in wanting to put something under the tree that's really super, you know, meaningful to a knitter or crocheter, we actually advise gift cards because it shows it's better than a generic card, you know, Amex card, gift card, whatever. It shows that you know what they like to do, and you appreciate that they want to pick out what they actually need. So you don't have to be like, hey, honey, get me this. You know, it can be a little more spontaneous than that. But
yarn we've talked about is almost like buying tools for someone. Like, you know, people are like, oh, I want to buy yarn. It's like, do you play with tools? Well, yeah. Would you like somebody just picking a random tool for you? No.
Because it could be a tool you already have, or it could be a tool that is not functional to you at all. You know, unless you get very clear instructions. And we've had that. We've had spouses or kids or friends come in and say, I've been told to get this, you know, which takes the spontaneity out of it, but still means you get what you want. You know, I think Jan in her comment mentioned getting an light, getting like a really bright light that you can get at Joann's that helps you see what you're working on. That is super functional. We sell some little lights here. We don't sell the big floor versions, but we do have lights that help you see what you're working on. That is good for knitters and crocheters of all ages. I always keep an extra table light on the lesson table to throw, even though we've got good lighting in the shop, a little extra light can help. So, you know, I think we've been going for a good 25 minutes now or so. So
yeah,
leave them wanting more, right? No. Oh boy. I think that was a good discussion. And so we love it when you give us things to talk about, because we can come up with things to talk about, but we might not talk about what you actually want to hear about. So you know, subscribe to us. I think there's little bells you can click to like be alerted that we have new videos. I don't really know how to do all of that. There's subscribing and liking and belling and all that kind of stuff. Binge watch us over and over again. Share us with friends. We are here to keep you company during this ridiculous time that we find ourselves in. So we'll both keep crafting as much as we can to show you stuff or talk about things that we like, things that we've done in the shop. I can keep pulling up that kind of stuff. Some days I have more times to craft than others. Oh my gosh, like it's been insane. So anyway, Liz, do you have any parting thoughts?
Any parting thoughts? I'm down to 100 projects.
You're down to 100 because you finished.
Because I finished, but I'm looking at my pile of yarn balls that are left over. And I'm like, I want to do something cool. So
you gonna do a scrappy shawl?
I might do a scrappy shawl because I have some, you know, whole twists of some of these same colors. So I was thinking about just doing a scrappy shawl. So stay tuned to see whatever I do next.
Yeah. Ooh. I'm gonna try to finish this bag so I can get back to the tens of millions of things I need to finish. But we're already talking about other things. What were we saying? Umbo O'Brien has come out in January with a really cool shawl. I wrote down Lacy Business. That might go in my newsletter soon. Rachi or Rachie Newen, I don't know how to say her name. I'm so sorry. I want to say Rachie because I have a sister named Rachel. She came out with a together apart crochet along shawl that I may start. I put it in this week's newsletter. So many options. So many options. Let us know what you would like us to talk about or investigate in terms of patterns. And, you know, craft on. So I forget, Liz, don't you usually say something at the end?
Stay tuned for more adventures of Liz and Rebecca.
I should be able to remember that.
Don't you say something.
I'm trying so hard.
It's okay. I can't remember what day it is.
I'm reading my to-do list, right?
My husband goes, "Are you waking up at your normal time?" And I was like, "Yeah, new normal." And he woke me up at the old normal. And I was like, yeah.
Brian's alarm went off long before mine, and he got out of bed long after me. So that's not new, though. So that's okay. Y'all have a good day. Stay safe. Stay home as much as you can. Stay healthy. Join us for virtual knit night tonight, and we will see y'all on Thursday.
Bye.
End meeting.